we're going to be considering is Doji. I've already explained Doji before. Like I said before, in Doji, there's little or no body. Some Dojis have small body, while some don't have. Some just like cross like this. Remember, the high, the low, then the open by this side, then the close by this side for Doji, right? See some other types of Doji. Doji star, long leg Doji, dragonfly Doji, gravestone Doji, gravestone Doji, right? I've already explained these ones before. Then this one is neutral Doji. Now, like I said before, some Doji candles have little or no body. Like in this case now, this one has small body. You understand? It has small body, right? Then this is the longer shadow. This is the lower shadow. Now, what Doji as a candle signifies indecision in the market. What it means is that both the bulls and the bears, nobody's in control of the market. So let's say you are buying or you're selling the market, right? And you now notice that a Doji candle forms. Now, for we that trade, now what you're going to do is that you begin to lock in your profits, or if possible, come out of the trade, because since there's indecision in the market, there's high tendency that the trend is about to change soon. So Doji candle just tells you that there's indecision. Both the bulls and the bears are dragging price and nobody won. So there's huge indecision in the market. Okay. The next topic we're going to talk about, the next pattern we're going to be talking about is the hanging man pattern, the hammer and the hanging man pattern. Now, this is how the pattern of a hanging man or hammer is. Now, they have the same structure. That is, they have a low, a small body with a open and a closed, then the high. Right now, what makes the hammer and the hanging man different is the location you see them. You understand? Now, if you see this pattern, that is this pattern, right? When the market is going down, I immediately see this pattern, right? What it means is that what you are seeing there is a hammer pattern. That is to say, when the market has been selling for some time, then you now see the pattern, this particular pattern. It means that it is a hammer pattern. But when the market has been buying, right? Market has been buying, you now see this pattern. What it means is that it is a hanging man. So what it means is, if the market is buying and you see notice this pattern after a long uptrend, or the market has been buying for some time, what it means is that it is a hanging man. If the market has been selling for some time and you see this pattern, what it means is that it is a hammer, right? So now let me show you on the chart to make things easier. Let's look for hanging man and hammer pattern. If you see, remember, this is how it is, right? Long wick and a body. So if we have to look for in this case where the market has gone down, then we now cite it. What we're looking for is hammer, right? So let's check if we see a hammer. This pattern here, it looks similar to a hammer, but it looks more like a doji, so we will not use it. Let's check. Let's look for, okay, I think this is a hammer, right? Yeah, see this pattern. The market has been selling, right? Then we now notice this pattern. Remember, this is how the pattern is: long wick down, then little or no wick up, right? So this is a hammer pattern. Let's look for another one, another hammer pattern. This is another hammer pattern, right? The market sold for some time. Then before we form this pattern, this is a hammer. Let's look for another hammer pattern. Yes, see this one. The market bought, right? Then formed this pattern. This is a hanging man. This one here is a hanging man pattern. The thing is, the color of the candle doesn't really matter. The color doesn't really matter. You understand? The color doesn't really matter. All that matters is with the location you notice it, the location you see it. If it is in an uptrend, it is a hanging man pattern. If it's in a downtrend, it is a hammer pattern, right? So this one here is a hanging man. Let's look for another hanging man or hammer pattern. Let's look for another hanging man. Now, say this one, this pattern here is a hanging man pattern, right? Reason because the market bought, then formed this pattern. Long wick down. Remember what makes it a hanging man or a hammer pattern? Long wicks down, then a body up, right? This is a hanging man pattern. Let's look for another one. Let's look for another one. Let's look for another one, right? I think this one. No, not it. Let's look for another one. See one here. This is another one. This one here. It's a hanging man pattern. Reason being, the market bought, then formed this pattern. Let's check for the last one. Let's check for the last one before I explain further what it means and what it represents. Yeah, this is another one. This is what hammer. Because the market sold for some time and formed this pattern. So now let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to the note now. Remember, I said that it has a body, right? Then a long wick up down. And what classifies it as a hammer or a hanging man is the location you see it. If it is down, it's a hammer pattern. If it is up, it is a hanging man pattern, an uptrend. Now I said, however, they differ in that they only occur in different aspects of the market. As I said before, the only difference is that the location they occur. A hammer occurs in a downtrend, while a hanging man occurs in an uptrend. Like I've explained, this is just a graphic representation. Hammer if it appears during a downtrend, then hanging man if it appears during an uptrend, right? So see this as an example. Now, what we classify it as a hammer? These are some things to know. First of all, it must be in the market must be in a downtrend. That is one. Then two, the lower shadow must be at least as big as the real body, meaning this body, right, must be bigger than this lower shadow, at least two times. If it's in a case where the lower shadow and that is this is the lower shadow, the case where the lower shadow and the body are the same size, it is not a hanging man or it's not a hammer. So what classifies it as a hanging man or a hammer is that the body must be bigger than the lower shadow. So lower shadow must be at least twice as big as the real body. Real body, the color doesn't really matter. Like I said before, color doesn't matter. Okay, so let's continue. So see this example here. The market went down, formed this pattern, right? This is a hammer and went up. So what it signifies is that when you are in a downtrend and you sight this hammer pattern, you should start getting ready to leave the market because it's an indication that the market is going to change direction soon. There is going to be a reversal soon. So that's just what the hammer or hanging man pattern represents. You understand? So some people trade this hammer. They use it as a basis for their signal. But with time, I'll teach you how to combine two or more candles to make better trading decisions. You understand? To combine two or more candles to make better trading decisions. Because some of these single patterns, they don't give strong signals. You understand? So with time, we'll explain better. So remember, hammer, downtrend, this pattern, right? And you see what they wrote here? They wrote buy signal, indicating that it gives signal that there's going to be reversal soon. Why for hanging man? First of all, it must be in an uptrend. Market must be buying. And notice it, like, remember, like I told you guys, the color doesn't really matter. The color of the body doesn't matter. It all depends on where you see the hammer or the hanging man. You understand? Yeah. So this and that chart. Um, this brief explanation. They said they consist of a body. I've explained that. A long wick that is below the body. I've explained that. And a very small or non-existent wick above. Even if there's a wick above, it has to be very, very small. Then they are majorly reversal um, candles. They are candles that usually give you indication that there's going to be a reversal soon. So when you see a hammer form after a long downtrend, you should start locking in your profits as a reversal might be around the corner. So if you are in a buy or a sell, and you sight the hanging man or hammer, what you should do is you should start locking in your profit, in the sense that you should adjust your stop loss above your entry, so that even if the market changes direction, you will not make losses, you'll be in profits. You understand? You understand? Okay. So remember, a hammer formed at the bottom of a downtrend. They are warning signs. They are, however, not telling you to buy the pair yet. You understand? Although some people use it as an indication for buying or selling, but it is not really advisable. They are not strong reversal patterns. Like I said, I will teach you how to combine different candles, two or three, to form or get stronger signals. You understand? So they are not telling you to buy. They're just warning candles, although some people use them as signals. So they said, however, they are giving a sign that the selling pressure is getting to an end. So if you see a hammer in a downtrend, it's telling you that that the selling pressure, that is, the bears are losing momentum. They will soon leave the market. That is what it's telling you. So you should be getting ready to leave the market, because the direction of the market will soon change to an uptrend. You understand? So a hammer formed because the bears drag the price down to form that long lower wick, which is the low. So I already explained that. So let's talk about. I've already explained the hanging man. So the hanging man, you just need to be in an uptrend. When you see it here, the color doesn't matter. Once you notice the hanging man, you should start locking your profit, as um, the trend will soon be changing. You understand? I've already explained this, right? I've explained it. So this, first of all, it must be in an uptrend for it to be a hanging man. Gap up. The lower wick, and the lower shadow or the wick must be bigger than the body. Sorry, the lower wick must be bigger than the body at least 2 to 3 times. You understand? So I've explained that already. I've explained that. Then before you enter, you see this confirmation candle. Before you enter, you need a confirmation candle. Although this is a warning signal, it does not give you direct signal. Although I told you some people use it as signal to enter a buy or sell, but most of the time when you sight this candle, it's always better to get confirmation to make better trading decisions, which I said I will explain further as we move forward. Okay. Let's go to our MetaTrader app. Let's see some practical examples of hanging man and hammer. Hanging man and hammer. Let's see some practical examples of hanging man and hammer. Well, I think I've already showed you guys hanging man and hammer. I've showed you guys hanging man and hammer. Let's go to the next um, topic. I've explained hanging man and hammer. So then the next one we're going to talk about is shooting star and inverted hammer. The first one we did was hanging man, hammer. The next one we're going to be covering is shooting star and inverted hammer. Now let's look at the structure of inverted hammer and shooting star. When we talk about hanging man looked like this, right? And we said that it's the same structure, the same size, the same shape. The only difference is the point it appears on. So now, if we are going to be considering um, inverted hammer and shooting star, it's just the same thing. It's just that The only difference is that inverted hammer and shooting star is the inverse. The inverse of, if you turn inverted hammer or shooting star upside down, you get your shooting star. So now, when you are in a market now and you notice that the market is selling, and you now immediately notice this pattern, right? When you notice it in a downtrend, it is known as inverted hammer. When the market is buying and you notice it in an uptrend, it means that it is a shooting star. Like I said before, the color doesn't really matter, but if it shows the color, let's say for inverted hammer, the market is going down and it now shows this pattern, and let's say it is green or white, it is better. It gives you better confirmation, because once it shows this white or green, it tells you that the bulls are already entering the market. That's the buyers, right? So now, then for shooting star, when the market is buying and you notice this pattern, it means that the bears are entering the market now. And like I said before, when I was explaining hanging man and hammer, it does not give you a direct signal. What it does, it gives you warning that the direction of the market is beginning to change. So what you should do is to lock in your profit. And like I said before, it's the same thing that applies here. The body of the candle or the wick, this wick here must be bigger than the body of the candle at least 2 to 3 times, as we can see in this example. So they also consist of a small body and a long upper wick. In inverted hammer, the wicks now are up, right? While when we were talking about hammer and hanging man, the wicks were down. So that's just the difference. When you notice it in this pattern in a downtrend, right, we call it inverted hammer. When you notice the pattern in an uptrend, we call it shooting star. You understand? So all these things are quite easy. There's nothing difficult about them. So like I said, the long upper shadow or the wick must be bigger than the body at least 2 to 3 times, right? So that's just it. There's nothing much about it. So they said it is a shooting star if it appears during an uptrend. I've already said that. Like you see, they use two different colors. Yeah, I said the color does not matter. So long as you see the pattern in either an uptrend or in a downtrend, it is valid. You understand? So if it is an inverted hammer if it appears during a downtrend, right? Like I said, the body or the tail must be bigger than the body at least 2 to 3 times, as we can see in this diagram here. The tail is bigger than this body at least around 4 to 5 times. So just know that the body is usually small with long tail. You understand? They say they are also reversal signals. Like I told you, some people use them as reversal signals, but it's always better to get better confirmation before entering them. You understand? Now, it says shooting star occurs at the top of an uptrend. I've already explained that. Inverted hammer occurs at the bottom of a downtrend. They said after a prolonged uptrend and you sight a shooting star, it is a warning that the uptrend will soon come to an end and a reversal is imminent. I've already said that, right? So see this example here. We saw a shooting star and some other candles formed, and before you know, the market went down, right? Right, that's for shooting star. Then a hanging man, sorry, inverted hammer. The market was selling, right? We now noticed this inverted hammer pattern, this one here, and the direction of the market changed to buying. So there's nothing really complex about them. You understand? Like I said before, they are not giving you direct signal. They're just warning candles telling that the direction of the market will soon change. You understand? Let's go to our chart and look for these patterns. We're looking for inverted hammer. We're looking for inverted hammer. We're looking for shooting star. Inverted hammer and shooting star, right? Inverted hammer and shooting star. Inverted hammer and shooting star. right? Now this is an inverted hammer. See this pattern here, right? Uh, sorry. I Let's go back a little bit. Let me cite it. Inverted hammer. Okay, see this now. This is a shooting star, right? Shooting star. Reason being, it bought, formed this pattern, formed some candles, and went down. Shooting star. Let's look for inverted hammer. Inverted hammer. Okay. Okay, see this one. This is inverted hammer. This one here. The market sold for some time, formed this pattern, and you notice that in this particular instance, it did not buy. It kept on going down. So for people that usually use it as signal, they must have lost money because the market did not change direction immediately in this case. So let's check for more examples so I will understand better. More examples so I will understand better. Shooting star and inverted hammer. Shooting stars, inverted hammer. I'm not seeing plenty in this one, in this particular currency. Okay, see one here. Now this is shooting star. Why? The market bought for some time, formed this pattern. Then if you notice, the next candle that formed is sold. That is to say, this candle here, the market went up, formed this shooting star pattern, and went down. So for people that usually trade this pattern, in this case, they would have made money because in this case, after it formed the pattern, the shooting star pattern, the market went down. That's this candle here. Market went down. So for people that traded this one, they made money. But like I said, some people do it, but it is not a concrete or a very very strong signal. So um, it's always better to use patterns that give you better confirmation. So like I said before, I'll teach with time. I'll show you guys how to use 2 or 3 candles to make trading decisions, better trading decisions, right? So I've showed you guys on the chart how to use um, um, shooting star and inverted hammer. I've given different examples here, right? I've given different examples. Let me just find one last example. Okay, see this one here. See this one here. This is shooting star. Like I said, the market bought. After buying, it formed this pattern. Remember, the wick is bigger than the body, right? Now, after that, now the market formed a doji. It formed see another inverted hammer. See another shooting star. Sorry, yeah, this one. And before you know it, market went down. So you see that in some instances, people that trade using shooting star as a signal will make money to some extent, but it doesn't work in every instance. So I think that's all for shooting star and inverted hammer. Let's go to the next pattern. The next pattern we are going to be considering is spinning tops. Spinning tops, right? So now this is how spinning tops are. Spinning tops have long upper wick, long lower wick, and a body. And most of the time, the size of the wick up and the size of the wick down are almost always the same size, right? And when you notice a spinning top, it's telling you that the market is soon change direction. Like you see in this case here, the market was selling, right? And it now formed these spinning tops here that are circled by these boxes. And after forming these spinning tops, the market changed direction and started buying, right? So the spinning top also signifies indecision. That is to say, both the buyers and the sellers, nobody's in control of the market yet. So when they occur, the market can go in any direction because nobody's in control. since it signifies indecision in the market. I said it signifies that the buyers and sellers are at a tie. Reason being, if both the upper and lower wick are the same size and the body is just there, it means that both the buyers and the sellers are dragging the price and nobody's in control yet. So, and it could go in any direction. However, further confirmation is needed to know where the market is going to continue. Like I said, I've been saying since, some people use it as confirmation for their trades, but it's always better to get other candlestick patterns to make your trading easier. So that's where we're going to stop in this part of the class. I've explained in this class. I have explained Doji. I've explained spinning tops. I've explained Moripozu. I've explained Haramis. Um, I've explained hanging man. I've explained hammer. I've explained inverted hammer. I've explained shooting star. Right. So in the next video, I'm going to be showing you how to combine two or more candles to get better confirmations. An example is something like this. You see this white candle, a bullish candle, then this big black candles, the bearish candles, giving you signal that um, the bears are in control. I'm going to explain it better so you understand better. Thank you for your time.